Friday.
It is Friday.
I figured you ought to sold that by now. Y'all the toolbox selling kings around here. Woo, that's a big one.
Definitely two nice boxes ready to go somewhere.
Man, yeah. Well, how's Matco life?
It's good. It's good. We do have a exciting new tool to talk about today.
Man, we like new stuff.
You know, I'm all about scanners.
Yep.
So when they come out with a new scanner, we always try to grab one. So this one come out. We got it on the truck. We're still learning a little bit of stuff about it. We're trying to get everything set up on it. But this thing is the new MD Max CR Pro 2.0. The exciting thing about this one is it actually will still do your gateway service. So like your newer Nissans,
nice.
newer Chryslers. So you still have to create the auto auth because that's where all the gateway goes through. You put the serial number in, and then you're able to use on the newer ones. You know, if you have a regular scan tool and you don't have that, it'll let you see the codes, but it won't let you clear the codes or anything else. So this gets by that, and this scanner is around the $400 mark. So to be able to have gateway on a scanner like that, it brings it to where you can do a lot more stuff for a lot cheaper price, right? It's going to do your standard resets, your brake, oil, SAS, battery, ABS bleeding. It does do the DPF regen, TPMS, and it does have injector coating. So a big punch right there all at one. It does have the VIN auto detect. I know that's what I like. I don't like having to type all those VINs in. You get one number wrong, and the next thing you know, it don't read anything. It also has 4, what is it? Let me read right quick. Color graphing, 4 graphs. So, you know, that's something that used to be on just your bigger school scanners and stuff like that. I'm going to hook it up this weekend, play around with it, learn all about it. We just got it in, opened the box this morning. It has to be registered, so I'm actually going to register this one to me. That way we can test all the capabilities. I know the first thing people are going to want to ask is, does it wind the calipers back? I know that's becoming more and more. So we're going to test that out, and we're going to see everything that it'll do. It does have a 4-inch screen, and it does have the free software updates.
Wow.
So that's something.
That's good.
Yeah, so with Gateway, the biggest thing about Gateway is your scanner's not up to date, you can't use Gateway.
Yep.
And that's an auto auth rule. And so your standard updates today are running anywhere from $800 all the way up to $1,500-$1,600.
Wow.
On different scanners here and about and aware, all the different models. So to have one that has free updates, it didn't cost you an arm and a leg to get the scanner in the first place, has the graphing, does the coding, does the TPMS relearn, and you can get auto auth on it. That's pretty big. So this is going to make it to where I have a lot of people that come to look at the tools just because they like tools and they buy tools for at-home use. This is something that they can start to do a little bit more with them, right? So I'm excited. Hook it up, play around with it, see what all it has to do.
Well, that was going to be my first question: is do you have to buy the software, and how much does the updates cost?
Right. So with this one, it's black and white on the box, free software updates, and there's the wide coverage with the US Nissan and the gateway access. So,
man, that's nice.
And the battery thing, you know, that for a while you had to have a higher scanner to be able to reset the battery thing on some of these Mercedes and stuff like that. So interested to learn a lot more about it. It does also, it has the max battery. So if you've bought the, you know, at the one time we showed the battery clamp, they're just on a cable.
Oh yeah,
and Bluetooth. So you can actually Bluetooth to this. You can have it on the scanner as well. Hook it up, test the battery starter, all that good stuff. Well, not starter capability as far as battery draw goes, but so I like scanners. I like to see what all they'll do. So we're gonna test it out.
I'm glad that you don't have to buy all that software.
Yeah.
Because that gets expensive quick, especially if you're working on several, like, you know, our shop, we worked on a little bit of everything. You know?
Right.
Like that would have, you know, if you're just mainly working on Toyotas or whatever, it's not as bad, but.
Right. And that's something that your dealership techs don't normally, they're starting to do it a little bit more. They're starting to have their own scanners, but used to dealership techs, they use what was provided by the dealer, and then they didn't have to worry about that, right? But your mom and pop shops, your outdoor shops, all these other shops that's out here, whatever you want to call them, when the scanners cost less, the updates didn't matter as much. But over the years, we've had to be able to do more. The scanners have got faster. They've got the, you know, whatever the reason is, the cost has went up on scanners. So what you're seeing now with shops is, okay, I've got to first pay for the scanner, which can range anywhere from a good high-end scanner can range up to $12,000, you know, across the market. Well, now you got to pay for that, and by the time you're even done paying for that, you got to update it.
Yeah,
so it's almost like
you're updated it 3 times the time you got to pay for it.
Right. So you're reverting back to, it's not fully paid for because you got that update, which obviously you need to keep the scanner up to date, because that's what allows you to be able to do the gateway, and that's becoming. It hasn't hit everybody yet because it's still on the newer stuff. So it's starting to just break the ice of, hey, it says that I got to have a gateway. What does that mean? It's like, all right, you got to register it auto off and do this. So it hasn't hit everybody yet, but it's within a good 2 years, it's going to be in every shop where they got to have a gateway. Toyota announced that they were fixing to get a gateway service of some type, whether it be a cable. You know, Ford come out with a CAN FD cable that you got to have. Something else that we're noticing with Ford is you got to have good internet, because if you don't have good internet, when your scanner goes to connect, and your scanner's got to be fast, because if it doesn't connect to their server, or I guess it's called a server, quick enough, after 3 failed attempts, Ford blocks you out on their side.
Wow.
So then there's a process to get that reset and started over. So it's becoming a lot more expensive for your small shops to be able to do some of this.
It's a lot less mechanical and more ticky now.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. Used to, you either wanted to work in a factory, be a technical guy, or work on cars.
Yeah.
Or of course the doctor fields.
Sure.
Well, now the technical field and the work on cars thing is kind of merged. Like, you got to be able to work on computers to work on cars. So
it's crazy, man.
You know, you still got your, you know, hands-on doing, but when you all of a sudden, now I can't just spin the caliper back in or push the caliper back in.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden I've got to have a scanner to release it to be able to do it.
Sure.
That's a bigger step forward. And of course, with all the cameras and stuff like that that you have on the windshields and in the emblems, you know, there's cameras in these cars that you don't even, the back bumper, I say cameras, I guess you could say sensors, that can tell you how close the cars are, make the little light in your mirror light up, vibrate the seat on some models. And customers get used to that when they buy that car.
Oh, yeah.
And the first time it stops, you got to know
how to fix it.
What's
wrong
and now
with
you got to have
yeah.
targets, and you got to have this, and you got to have that. So definitely jumped real fast in the high-tech
it's
cars.
Crazy, yeah.
So hopefully it'll kind of plateau for a minute with the rising cost of I guess the cost of the tools to do it. You know, used to, you'd buy your wrenches, your ratchets, and all that good stuff, sockets, impacts, you're done. Nope, now we're having to buy new special thin wall sockets to get in between the shielded
our mid-length sockets.
Our mid-length, you know, O2 sensors is what I guess the last 2 weeks has been. Some of the O2 sensors have a shield around them now, and the typical socket that they use to get their O2 sensors out don't work. So there's that, and then obviously the gateway and everything. It's just becoming more and more special tools. So at some point, maybe that'll level out, and people will have a little bit of break to where they can just buy the cool stuff that they like, and not stuff that I either have it or I can't work on a car.
Exactly.
But who knows? Because everything right now seems to be continuously going up. So
I think it's gonna get worse, because like Tesla, they just keep pushing the envelope And then like other car companies have to follow that, right? And then you got like, it's kind of like a race between Mercedes and like Lexus and Tesla and all these companies that put a lot of tech in them. Like the further they push that, well, even in your base models, you kind of got to add some or.
Well, and then you got to think about the hybrid. You know, you mentioned Tesla, the hybrid side of it.
Sure.
It don't matter how many screwdrivers you got. I guarantee you they're the wrong ones for that. It don't matter how many ratchets you got. They're not the right one for that, because, you know, they take all the special electrical. Most of them have like a plastic around everything.
That
so
rubber insulated.
Rubber. That's what the word I was looking for. So, and the hybrid stuff, point blank period, outrageous. Anything you go to buy to work on that electricity like that, you know, the gloves, all that stuff, super expensive. But yeah, like you said, everything's going up and up and up. And the only thing that kind of worries me is the way that more and more are starting to kind of block outside shops. And it's like for a lot of years we had a ruling to where it's like, okay, there's got to be able for outside repair. Well, now they found loopholes into that to where, okay, well, if we're going to allow the outside shop to do that, they need to have this and they need to do this. And the only problem with that is that it's not as simple as signing your name up on a sheet.
Sure.
It's, you know, okay, well, like the keys thing, all lost keys, you know, now they're wanting you to have that new license, and they're wanting you to have, you know, so much insurance, and insurance is high on a car. You can only imagine what you got to have for accidental insurance for stuff like that. And so,
well, it's kind of a new thing in cars, because I remember when Chrysler did that. You remember I think they was like the first ones, wasn't they, that did the gateway?
They were the very first ones to do the gateway.
Everybody was freaking out on the car side, but you know, we was kind of used to it because PACCAR was that way. Like you had to have their computer, their software with a Davy system on it. Because it went through the cloud and hooks to their mother network, and it drips you a few drops of hope to get your truck fixed. But like, that's kind of a common thing with the big truck side, but when it hit the automotive side, everybody was freaking out big time.
Big time.
Well, like, you couldn't even program your keys. Like, if you had even one key, you couldn't program a second key on the Chrysler.
Well, and that's what the new key deal that's coming out, that's been released, and Ford's, I think, the ones leading the way there. I think theirs is the first ones to have some in it. You can program one key, but if you have all keys lost, you can't do it. You got to have that special license.
Right.
Well, that special license is not easy to get. You know, they say it is, but it's not. I mean, you got to pay a fee to get it.
All about the money, man.
Yeah, you'd have to do 12, 13 cars to get your money back for just the fee, not mentioning the insurance and all that you have to keep up to date. So a lot of people just started saying, I don't do keys. You know, we're going back, and it's
have to take it to the dealership.
And that's what worries me, is because the more you take away from these outside shops, you don't want the only place to be able to take a car is to the dealership.
Well, the manufacturers definitely want to shut everybody out, where you have to take it back to the dealership. That's their end goal, you know, and that way they can just keep raping the customer pretty much. Well, and it's not the technicians.
No, and
it's the shops charging the fees that they do. Like, it's ridiculous that $200 an hour labor at some shops, when it gets to the technician, it's $25.
Well, and
you know,
the thing, and this may have just been something that the dealer told us when we were there, but they would always say the shop has to make the money for the dealership. Like the car side sale of it, that's not where it's at. They don't make their money on the car sale side. It's getting it back in, doing all the services, doing all the repairs. So what that does is that elevates that cost, you know, and you'll hear, well, they're $200 an hour because they got shop fees, and they got this, and they got that, and they got to pay this, and they got to pay that. And it's like, all right, at the end of the day, though, all I worry about is the guy working on my car.
Sure.
Like, that's
well, you do the math on it. If you figure up how many labor hours are billed,
right,
and then you figure up how many people's working in there, they're doing pretty good. Like, I mean, I could live off that. Well, let's just work 2 days a week, guys. We're good.
That's it, right?
But
well, and that's just the thing. It seems like the bigger a place is, the easier they kind of make it. It's the small shops just having to nickel and dime everything, and stuff like this is what helps that out.
Exactly.
That's why I'm excited for these smaller computers that do more, right? So
Well, I got to give it to Matco. I'm proud of them. They didn't charge a subscription.
Yeah, that's definitely not a subscription on that one. It's printed on the box, says it is free. We also have a new scanner coming out at Expo, so I'm really ready to see that. These are Android based. That is what we run off of, is an Android based. So if you're an Apple user, it does take a little bit of time to get used to it. That's the biggest thing that we have. I've always been told, Snap-on's computers kind of run off more of an Apple kind of guided way, and the Matco's always been kind of the Android kind of way. Right. So you're going to have some that love these, you're going to have some that love these, and that's perfectly normal. Yeah. We don't fault anybody for that. I just love tools, so I don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, I sell Matco, but I just like tools. So
but I gotta hand it to you. You're probably the only flagship tool dealer. There's one other guy that I know that's like you. If it's a good tool, he'll say it's a good tool.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them will have a tool that's not as good as the competitor brand. I mean, I'm not gonna say not as good, right? Like maybe the grips aren't as awesome, or some feature, right? But when it comes to telling the truth about tools, and I think that's why everybody loves you so much. Like, if Snap-on makes a good impact, you're like, that's a great impact. We have this one, but I do like that one too.
Yeah.
It's rare to see that.
I believe I go back to like Park League ball, right? Yeah. Obviously, I like my kid, love my kid, think they're great, and I'm going to see the great things they do. But I can also say, hey man, your girl just killed it on that bat. Good job. I'm fine with that. Same way with tools. I love tools. So if it's a good tool, I'm going to tell you it's a good tool.
See, some of the dealers, they get in there and they drink that Kool-Aid, and then they eat their cookies too. Wow. But like, you sit and tasted the Kool-Aid and you eat on the cookies, but like, at the end of the day, you still know what it is.
So. I have to see my customers every day, and I don't want them to hide anything from me. I had a guy, a great customer of mine, buys a bunch from me. Y'all all know that we got Kevin, which is the new Snap-on dealer in my area. He had sold one of my good techs some ratchets, and the first thing he did was, hey man, come look at these ratchets. And it was the Snap-on swivel head ratchets. It's like, yeah man, them look awesome. I don't fault him for buying those, and I don't want him to feel like he
can't tell you
that
about
he can't
either.
tell me that, because what that's going to do is that's going to create a barrier between me and my customer now, because he don't want to be open, and I don't want that. If you're happy about your purchase, tell me all about it. They're going to tell me what they're not unhappy about, whether it be something I've sold them, or something Kevin sold them, or something Joe sold them. It don't matter if they bought it at Harbor Freight. If they're not happy about it, they're automatically going to tell me about it.
Well,
that's normal.
It's kind of good for your business too, right? Because that way you see like, okay, this guy likes that. Yeah. And when you go to Matco Expo, if they've got something similar, you're like, okay, hey, if this guy liked it, I could probably sell some of these, to some of my customers that may not have access to that brand.
I don't see
competition's a good thing.
Competition is a good thing
to drive the industry.
Competition is actually what makes you better, because when you're not having to constantly think about what I need to do better, you're staying put and you're never moving forward.
That's exactly right.
And I may have already sold them, but right after that conversation, I actually ordered some that we had that was that way. And
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
The thing about it is I didn't think nothing about it. I'm trying to see if I can see them, but I don't. So we've already sold them.
That means you need to order some more.
Yes, I do have. Trust me, part of my expo order is mainly ratchets. So, like, I need any more, but I do have some that I don't got that I want. But yeah, if you got a tool that you're proud of, show me. Talk about it. I was a tech. I'm not ashamed to say I bought from Mac, I bought from Cornwell, I bought from Snap-on, I bought from everybody. I don't expect anybody to do it any different. Right. I even have some that I bought from Sears. It's it is what it is. It don't matter. So. Well,
I'd rather my customers buy whatever they need to get the job done, is to not be able to have the tool that they need to work.
Right.
To make a living.
I like my customers to see me more as a friend.
Sure.
Because if they see me as a friend, they're more likely to pay me on time. They're more likely to be honest with me while they can't pay that week, and that's fine.
Sure.
But they're also more likely to trust me with
a large purchase,
right.
like a toolbox, scan tool.
So, yeah, my customers know that brag about anything you want to brag about.
Yeah.
Because all that's going to do is make me go, hey, y'all realize that they're killing it on this.
Right. We need to do this.
So, and that helps drive the market.
Sure.
So.
Guys, I've said it a million times, and that's proof. Buy your tools. Buy the man selling them, not the brand behind them. Because if you got a dealer like that, he's going to take care of it. So, there you go. Simple as that. All right, guys. Like always, it's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Hit that thumbs up. Check over for merchandise. Cool tools and discount codes down here. If you're not subscribed, take your finger, click that button. See ya.